I want to speak briefly on this young comedian by the name of Awkwafina. She goes by Awkwafina. And there's a lot of black people that seem to be quite upset because they claim that she's using Blaccent, acting like black women. Black people have a problem with that. So I decided to go and watch some of her videos. I went and watched some of her interviews. And I find nothing wrong with this young lady. She's a comedian. I don't find anything wrong with what she did. She didn't have on no black paint and red lips. She wasn't out there trying to buck dance. She just did her little thing. It came natural to her. And she was only impersonating what she see in her everyday life. She was going according to what so-called black people show her in the way they act. Now, black people can't be upset because if you go back as far as Richard Pryor and how he used to impersonate white people, Eddie Murphy impersonate white people. He talked like a white man, he'll tighten his butt, and he'll walk stiff like a white man. You got people like Paul Mooney that talk about white people and even say racial things against white people. And then you have white chicks, and then you have other blacks that act like whites. You know, sure, just a meal, and you know how we talk like white people. And you have black women that try to act like white women. You wear the weaves and the wigs that look like white women. So I don't see why you're so upset at this Asian American, this young female that was impersonating what she perceived as a black woman. I will say Biden just recently signed a protection order for Asians for hate crimes. And the so-called black Americans were accused of hate crimes against Asians. What I will say to my fellow Asians out there, if you can't stand the heat, stay out the kitchen. See, you have a protection order. We don't. So anything goes when it comes to the so-called black Americans. Black Americans have a history, a deep, deep history here, along with white people. So for you to come along and then cry that you're being targeted by blacks and you're being hated on by blacks, and then after you get your protection order, then you start making jokes using Ebonics, or what they now call a Blaccent, thinking it's funny. Well, you're going to get some pushback from the black Americans because you can't take it. See, when it's directed at you, you can't handle that. You had to have a protection order. Black people don't have that. So even if you mean no harm and you're trying to be a comedian or a comedian and you want to use black people in your skit and you think it's funny, well, you're going to have black people that's going to frown on that. Because your feelings were hurt when black people targeted you. So now that you have a protection order, you're targeting black people. Like I said, if you can't stand the heat, stay out the kitchen. If you don't want black people coming at you, don't come at black people. But again, I watched her videos. I thought some of her stuff was funny. I saw nothing wrong with it. And I really don't think she was being, I really don't think she was targeting black people, man. I don't think she was trying to be harmful or hurtful towards blacks. I really don't think so. I don't know what's in her heart. Only her and God above knows. But I didn't sense any type of hostility in her heart against black people. This is a young girl that see things in her everyday life, just like we all do. It's like people make fun of crackheads, and that's not a funny situation. But people would impersonate crackheads. They would play the role of a crackhead. So I don't think this girl meant any harm. I thought some of her stuff was funny. But I will say to the Asians out there, you can't stand the heat, stay out the kitchen. Because when black people come back at you, don't start crying hate and saying that you're being bullied and targeted by black people. You have a protection order. We don't. So feedback, tell me what you think, subscribe, click on the Cash App, support the channel, or click on the link and support some of my gear. Until next time, I'm fearless.